Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning in to Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to work on this guava. I acquired this tree from my friend who liquidated her collection. And if we look at the pot, we see that it's skewed because I changed the front. This, as far as the tree is concerned, this is the front that I want. But the original front is right here. And then the bari is a little better on the original front. But I didn't think the branch placement was all that great. So I decided to change it. I haven't repotted it because it really wasn't time. I'll send you a link to the first video I did on this tree where I changed the front. And as you can see, it's got a lot of wire. And I don't think the wire is really cutting into the bark, but I'm going to take it off anyway because I have the feeling that most of the branches have set into place. And even though I was working this tree, I've worked it a couple different times, it is still elongated. I have this tree in fairly dense shade because it's very root bound. And there's another part about this tree that I'm concerned about, and that is the pot. It's in one of those concave pots where the pot comes out like this and then bends in. So you've got roots out here, so you're never going to be able to pull this tree out of this pot without sawing the roots all the way around or breaking the pot apart, which I don't want to do. I don't really want to do either. But I'm going to attempt next spring to saw the roots. Now this tree has some, if we zoom in again, it's got some growth that has nothing to do with the design. This little piece right here that's coming against the grain, and then this little tiny piece right here also. And then interestingly, this branch here, which is part of the first main branch, died. This whole branch here is dead. Kind of looks like there's still leaves, but they belong to the branch behind. So that part died, and there's another one in the back that died, but oh well. So first thing I'm going to do, once I keep the camera from looking like we're in a earthquake, is just give it a haircut. And the rule is when it grows to 5, cut it back to 1 or 2. So you see this branch here has grown tremendously. And I may actually want to keep that branch. All of this stuff on the second main branch needs to be shortened. And a lot of this legginess is because it's just growing in shade. I was just afraid that it might dry out. So I put it in a little more shade than I probably normally would. So we've got this growth here that's shooting from here, which is probably not necessary. We have this branch here, which visually is in about the same place. So I'm going to take that off. And then the branch I was just talking about, that needs to be reduced. And for some reason I didn't wire this branch here. I don't know why. It should be like that. And then I need to come around to the other side and give it the same treatment. And when I got the trees from my friend, I told her I was going to honor her styling. And then, of course, I immediately changed the front. However, I didn't totally whack it back and start over. So that's already been cut. No, it hasn't. Okay, so sometimes when you cut a branch, they just sort of sit there. So right away, it's looking a lot better. And so now it's just a matter of taking off the wire. And since I save all my wire, now this branch is dead, and I'm still going to try to take the wire off as if it were alive. And I use this same wire to bend this branch here in the back. So start from here. But I didn't even notice, I also have another smaller piece of wire, thinner wire, on this part right here. And yes, no wire scars. And if the leaves bounce back, you can always put more wire on. I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem though. I can't think of anything to say. If you're a Pink Floyd fan, then you know that reference. God, can you believe that album came out in 1973? Oh no, that's how old I am. Of course, I guess being old is better than the alternative, right? And that's one interesting aspect of bonsai, is many times you can fully expect your trees to outlive you. And in fact, in October, I plan on going to the Jim Smith Memorial Bonsai exhibit at Heathcote Botanical Gardens in Fort Pierce. Jim was one of the best bonsai artists in the country, and he passed away. But before he did, he donated his entire collection to the Botanical Garden so that it would remain intact. Otherwise, it would have been sold off, auctioned, and it just would have been, you know, everywhere. And man, he's got some trees. I mean, oh my God. Massive, 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 massive. You'll see. I'm going to go down there and do a video of a tour of the gardens of his collection, and it is amazing. That's second weekend in October. Of course, the way time flies, that will be here before you know it. And, you know, I'm already bored, so I don't think I'm going to bore you with the continual unraveling of the wire on this tree. Though it does appear as though the branches have set pretty well, so I'm okay with that. So I'm just going to turn off the camera and continue to undo the wire, and then I'll come back with the finished product. And then talk about the future of this tree also. So it won't take that long. And of course in video land it'll only take about a millisecond. That didn't take long. And so here's the finished product. Finished. Of course there's no such thing as a finished bonsai. Well, actually when they die they're finished. So what do we got going on here? We have decent branching, and I don't think I'm ever going to get everything, you know, perfectly horizontal. I don't really think it really needs to be. But if we look at places where it's lacking, there's space up in here that needs to fill in, so maybe bring this guy like that in a future wiring. And there's also some space over here that maybe like bring this guy into there. and no wire scars. And it's held in place pretty well. Guava is a tropical fruit, and it's got very hard wood, and that's part of the trepidation I have about trying to get it out of this pot. I want to save the pot, but if I ever use this pot again, I'm going to put something like a jade in there that has roots that are not woody that you can very easily cut through. I may do a full video on pots, the kinds I like, the kinds I don't like, and the reasoning behind it. But for today, that's the guava. Oh, and also I took a bunch of cuttings in the original video that, once again, I put a link where you could watch that in the beginning of this video. I took a bunch of cuttings from this tree and I got nothing, zero. And well, that's just the way it is. Just about exactly the same time, I took cuttings from an Iliagnus that was also part of my friend's collection that I acquired. And I got about 50%, and maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I will feature the Iliagnus and show you the cuttings. And they've rooted and they're growing well. Although a lot of times I like to leave cuttings in the bed to really get established well before I pull them out. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. When you subscribe and hit the notification bell, you'll be notified every time I drop a new video, and I try to do one every day. And leave a comment if you'd like. The future of this tree is to attempt to grow some of the foliage into the spaces that it's missing, and then in the spring, and I don't think it needs to be super early spring like most temperate plants, because guava is a tropical plant, but probably sometime 1st of March, something like that. And remember, I'm in zone 10 in the United States, so spring comes super early here. The average last frost is the 15th of February. So after the 15th of February, the odds of getting a freeze, and actually we've been bumped into zone 10 in the last USDA climate zone change, so that means that freezing is becoming less and less and less likely. Anyway, I'm rambling again. I say goodbye and then I start to ramble, but you're probably used to that by now. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.